We invited White House officials and Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee to defend Attorney General Gonzales. We had no takers.
Both the president and the country are better served if the Attorney General is seen as a figure of probity and a figure of integrity and a figure of competence. And sadly, the current Attorney General is not seen as any of those things. And I think that it is a liability for the president, but more importantly, it's a liability for the United States of America.
There's no doubt, as I have said repeatedly for months now, that the Department of Justice would be much better off without him.
Well, he doesn't have much credibility, and he would do us all a favor if he stepped down and allowed the president to select someone else. You need to be truthful to Congress. You can't be inaccurate so often. Finally, there just builds up this incredible credibility gap.
Congressman Shays, Republican of Connecticut, also said he's lost confidence in Alberto Gonzales.
Well, in recent days, there hasn't been a lot to build confidence in the Attorney General, but the President has confidence in him. That's what really matters.
He's got one supporter, and that is George W. Bush. This is remarkable in that every leak you're getting out of the White House shows that no one in the White House wants this to continue. This is really hurting the president, it's hurting the White House, because you've got an Attorney General who not only doesn't have credibility, he doesn't seem to be terribly smart about the way he's handled this whole thing.
The Department of Justice, which is supposed to be very impartial, is supposed to be impartial law enforcement, is being shredded by his activities.
Gonzales is taking so much punishment. I wonder how he gets up in the morning and keeps going to the office every day.
In this matter concerning the U.S. attorneys, it was poorly handled. But after all these hearings, all of this bluster, all of this moaning and groaning by the Democrats, they have not shown one reason why there was any impropriety.
I know the topic he was talking about, and I frankly know enough about it to know that between what the FBI director said and the Attorney General said, there is very likely an interpretation where both are saying exactly the right thing in a very narrow way, and suddenly we start talking about perjury.
I was a member of the so-called Gang of Eight. I was in that meeting. I didn't know it was an emergency meeting in 2005. And I know only one program was at issue. It was a classified meeting and a classified program. But I think some suggestion that there were separate programs, or that maybe somehow in retrospect after legal changes were made, Congress doesn't know what they are because we haven't seen the underlying legal documents. But nonetheless, I think that that's a very slippery slope, and the chief law enforcement officer needs to tell the truth.
Look, to have a crime of perjury under the federal code, an 18 U.S.C. 1621, you've got to have a person who makes statements that he really does not believe are true. And frankly, nobody could say that about the testimony of Judge Gonzales.
The testimony he gave is not truthful.
The fact of the matter is that the White House has said that Gonzales told the truth.
The truth is that the Attorney General, in my view, has at least lied to Congress and may have committed perjury. I think perhaps a crime has been committed by the Attorney General on this matter. Certainly, there should be a special counsel to determine if charges should be brought. Why wouldn't you do that on such an important matter?
And there isn't one evidence of impropriety, and yet they've built this like it's some sort of a big scandal, and it's not.
Let me read you something that's been said by the number 3 Republican congressman in the House, the chairman of the House Republican Conference, Adam Putnam. He said the Attorney General's loss of credibility diminishes the Justice Department and undermines the President's ability to move some of his most sensitive legal issues through the Hill. It is more than a distraction, and the consequences to the President are far greater than any one person. Isn't there a serious management problem now at the Justice Department?
Well, he's talking about the fact that this Attorney General's been battered day in, day out by Democrats for partisan reasons.
It's like a pinata. It is.
Right. They just bring him back.
They bring him back, and he is a terrible, I mean, he's terrible at this.
Doesn't the Attorney General at this point have a credibility problem?
Well, of course. I mean, this is not really about the Attorney General. This is about the Democrats. They're using him as a punching bag to get to the President.
I think that the White House must be glad that he's taken all the arrows right now, and he is sort of almost distracting Congress to just go after him. I don't think any other human being could take this kind of punishment and stay in the job, and I think a lot of folks probably in the Bush administration would just assume this guy would just resign.
Let me tell you, Alberto Gonzales is not going to retire. He's not going to resign. I have a lot of respect for the man. He's willing to hang in there. I think he's done a lot of good things down there, even though, yeah, He's been used as a punching bag by the Democrats, and I might add some Republicans who I chatted with and said, yeah, they have gone too far.
The Department of Justice is second only to the Department of Defense in protecting the American people. Investigations on terrorism, on organized crime, on violent crime, on drugs, and that department is dysfunctional, and it's been dysfunctional for a long time.
Frankly, at this point, the president ought to take a long look at this and ask, does he want to go down in history with this Attorney General as part of his historical record?